You know, it wasn't all that long ago, just a few weeks, I suppose, when President Obama was believed to seriously be on the verge of gun control in our country. Well, where does that debate stand right now? Joining us to talk about it, the founder of Gun Owners of America, right here in our own area in Virginia, Larry Pratt joins us on the guest line. Larry, welcome back to WMAL and happy Memorial Day. How are you, sir?
Austin, good to be with you. Happy Memorial Day to you.
Good to be with you, sir. You're a former legislator from your home state of Virginia, and you've been running Gun Owners of America for a long, long time. You understand politics and public policy, and I guess the hostility towards the constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Where does that debate stand in America right now, here on a Memorial Day, as you would see it?
Well, Austin, I think it's in a better shape than it was even several months ago. The president made a big play, a major play. Frankly, I think he put not just guns, but his whole legislative agenda behind a measure to expand the background check on gun owners. When they buy a gun, they would have to get their backgrounds checked. And then it turned out that the government itself probably needed its background checked a whole lot more than individual gun buyers, and the whole narrative has begun to collapse because of these scandals. But frankly, I think they were in trouble after they lost the push for this measure. The Toomey Manchin bill failed. A lot of people were very surprised that that had happened in the Senate, and our opinion was that since they couldn't get it through the Senate, and that was their signature legislation on the rest of their whole legislative agenda,
right?
That agenda itself was probably in some trouble, and that was before the scandals broke. And now with all these scandals breaking around them, sort of like an incoming fire, I'm hopeful that the whole Obama legislative agenda has lost its momentum. It's in serious trouble, and hopefully we've dealt them a serious blow.
Larry Pratt with Gun Owners of America. He's on the guest line from Virginia. You can find them at gunowners.org, of course. Larry, do you see the illegal immigration bill that the Obama administration has been pushing? Does that entail some level of gun control in your estimation? And is that a threat to people's right to keep and bear arms, would you say?
That was something that has been very concerning to us, because if you bring in a bunch of folks who are essentially going to be Democrat voters, that's going to change the whole legislative dynamic. And it was our concern that if he'd pulled that off, if he'd gotten that immigration bill through by 2035, we'd have had so many Democrat voters in this country that you'd have never been able to stop a gun control bill ever again. It would have been a completely different political landscape. But we are hopeful now that that is not as likely to pass also.
Larry Pratt from Gun Owners of America. As I follow your work, and I've seen you on national television, and who among us cannot forget that very special moment you shared with Piers Morgan on CNN just a matter of a few weeks ago. You strike me as a man who's always vigilant about this, no matter what political winds are blowing through Congress or through the White House at any given moment. You're always concerned about this. Am I right?
Well, this has been a battle that doesn't let up. And we've had to be always on guard. These are things that can come at you from any different direction. You're never quite sure. But one thing that we are confident of is that if big government has a chance, they're going to try to restrict firearms in the United States. And so, we've had our work cut out for us.
Where do you see things playing out, say, just the rest of this calendar year? I mean, are we going to see more movement on the immigration bill? A lot of people, even Democrats in the Senate, are saying this is going nowhere. Are you concerned about that? Are you concerned about the president attempting some sort of executive order to mandate gun control? What are your thoughts?
Well, those are always possible, but our thought was that if the president had put all the chips on the table for his gun control measure, for expanding the background check, which from our perspective, was nothing more than an expansion of gun registration, because that's all the background check had been. If he couldn't pull that off, that he was likely to see the rest of his legislative agenda go in the tank. And so far, I think that's what is happening. The immigration bill, which we were very concerned about, as I just mentioned, for the implications that would have had for gun owners, it looks like that has now been stalling. And I think now when you add all the scandals that are surrounding the president, hopefully any momentum that he might have had for his legislative agenda is simply not there any longer. And frankly, I think it's time for those of us who are pursuing a freedom agenda to go on the offensive. I think we can start talking about getting rid of legislation that shouldn't have ever been on the books, because right now this is a wounded president, and a lot of the wounding is done to himself.
Well stated. Larry Pratt from Gun Owners of America. He's a former state legislator in the state of Virginia. You can find him at gunowners.org if you want more info. Larry, always a pleasure, sir. Thanks very much for joining us. Good to be with you.
Austin, same here. Thank you.